Good morning, good morning. What is up, folks? It's Tuesday, July the 22nd. T here with another Chart Talk Live, courtesy of Xtrades. Hope everyone's doing well this morning. All right, let me over into the chat, screen sharing, and it is today. Ta-da. Hey, what's up, Navy Plum? Good morning. What's up, Eddie? What's up, New Trader? Good to see everybody here this morning. Hope everyone's doing well. Let screen here and then get this party started. All right. So as we always do to get these things started, we're going to take a look at ES. We're going to go over our trade plan recaps, and then we're going to start working on some fresh trade plans for us to keep our eyes in attention on here in the near future. Hopefully, we'll catch some of these moves and hit a bunch of price targets and make a bunch of money in the process. So let's go. Let's dig into it. Welcome everybody that just joined. What's up, Eric? Love the profile pic. What's up, Owen? Good to see you. All right. So, from an ES perspective, market continues to grind higher, making higher lows. Eked out a new all-time high, ran right up to an existing set of fib extensions off this prior all-time high at the 50%. Pretty decent pullback there off of that, but we are still catching some of these what were, I would say, supply zones and turning those into demand zones. Uptrend starting to tick to the upside. We have one developing here. We've got three good touches, 2, 3 on those two candles. So you can see. So this looks confirmed. Things are trying to push back up through the bearish momentum and get things moving back to the upside here. So let's keep an eye on things. But overall, I think we've already pretty clearly established that we are strong by the dip market, at least for the time being, until we see some shift from a structure of these chart patterns standpoint. We start seeing some key supports break. I would not be in a rush to short. Certainly not the markets. Obviously, there are some individual names that may have their own separate issues that could be shortable. But again, I would say generally speaking, the market being the rising tide that will raise all ships, we've got to be a little bit careful with that. And I would certainly continue in my policy of saying, um, keep any short or bearish positions very light until we see some kind of structural change. Again, I would rather be a little bit late to the party and have better confirmation and miss, a certain percentage of the move versus trying to, time the top of the market and constantly take losses in the process. So that's kind of the overall sentiment on the market. Let's take a look at our existing trade plans that we did here recently. We did Regeneron. This one really hasn't given us an entry either way. It's just sort of slowly been grinding to the downside. Interesting confluence down here at 538.23 with the 200 SMA on the hourly. If we do come down and test and break below that, certainly there could be a run at some of these lower price targets. That could also be a pretty decent opportunity to try some longs if you're bullish on Regeneron, um, just because that's a pretty solid confluence in my opinion. But so far, really nothing to see here on Regeneron. McDonald's, this is another one that has given us two really clean rejections of the call entry. Slide this over so we can see those levels. Two really solid rejections of the call entry. Clearly, we've got the right level on watch for upside at this point. Let's also take a look at this, though. Possible earlier here on McDonald's. If it could, or if it does, I should say, break back over 297.69, I would certainly keep an eye on this one to potentially push even higher from there. That could make another run up to 302.55 in my opinion. So keep an eye on that. But so far, McDonald's not really given us any really good confirmed breaks. That's a pretty wild candle in the. Let's notice that. Or I must be some kind of weird print or yeah, I'm not sure what. At least not in the middle of the trading day. But again, holding the put entry, rejecting the call entry, we clearly have right levels on watch for McDonald's, but just nothing really confirming as far as any trade plan we're pursuing there on McDonald's. We did SoFi last Thursday. Let's get this up. Where's Thursday? It's Friday. Easier for us to see when this trade plan got started. Oops. So this one tried to open above the call entry, pulled back right out of the gates and down into that buy pressure there on NTS. Tried a little bit of a bounce, but ultimately rejected. What's up, Chris? Good morning. Good morning. I think you said you got a ticker that you were very excited for us to work on this morning. So feel free to go ahead and drop that in the chat. Same to anybody else, and welcome to join since we got started and we said our good mornings. Hope everybody's doing well and having a good. So back to the SoFi trade plan. Again, this one is moving to the downside. 200 SMA coming up here just below. I would be watching for a potential back test and rejection of this put entry. That could, if we see signs of a rejection there, create a good short opportunity off of 2108 resistance at this point. But again, so far, nothing that's really looked like a good confirmed break on SoFi either way, at least not actionable during market hours. So we'll continue to keep this one on watch. And then we did Micron last but not least as far as our member selected trade plans. Selected trade plans, man, I haven't done that ever though. Get back on that. We did Micron last Thursday's live stream. Again, another one that just really hasn't given us a good confirmed entry. So a lot of stuff trying to consolidate and figure out which direction it wants to go by the looks of it. So we'll continue to keep these on watch, keep these levels marked on your charts, make sure you've set some alerts. You can also, if you don't already have access, get access to the trade plan navigator. It makes it very easy to set up alerts on your own. And I actually got an interesting question. I think it was yesterday or maybe the day before. No, it was yesterday. What's up, Ryan? Good morning. Good morning. Who gave us XYZ? Yeah. Well, that was I think that was a Chris request and a JT trade plan. But back to what I was saying a moment ago, I do have some of those alerts being fed into the chat as these levels get tested. However, they do expire a week from when I set them. So if you have a trade plan that you really like, you really want to make sure that you keep track of for the foreseeable future, make sure that you are, if not just manually putting the levels and setting alerts on each level, get a copy of the trade plan navigator, reach out to Chris. He will help you get set up, and you can then use that to very easily set alerts on all the levels and keep those alerts active for as long as you possibly want. That was the point. Struggling, but we got there. So, all right, let's get rolling. Let's see what we've got working here. All right, so Chris is really excited about Dell. So let's take a look at Dell. Don't mean to give him preferential treatment, but when we team up, lots of money winds up. So let's start with that, and then we'll other tests, as many of them as we possibly can. Promise. Oh, armor. Fortunately, I have some existing levels. Dell, it is pulling back, testing what was key resistance. It's been a long time since I've looked at this one, but clearly 50 was 15. A pretty tough level to break. We've now broken above it and looks like we're trying to back test and bounce off of it. see. Stand this out actually just for now. Turn off just for a moment so I can focus on just the price action. Not as good as I thought it was, but that's an interesting projection there. Let's get this. All right. This level, but it's not super convinced by it. Keep some not totally sold on this level, but keep it up. All right. Eye on those levels. Hourly, real quick. That's a pretty decent fair value gap, too. That's intriguing. That's what Chris saw that's got him so excited about Dell. Sorry, I'm a little bit into the weeds here. These levels are not as easy to spot as some other charts. That's decent font. First, wondering if it was due to low volume. 5 million 30-day averages. Shabby. All right. Let's take a look. This looks like. Also got a pretty clear downtrend getting tested here. Maybe broke it actually. Trying to break. Interesting. Okay, let's make up our minds. One last look at this historical price action. Curious if there's an early aggressive entry here. I'd want to wait a little bit more, but this is worth taking a shot at. Really do start to get fair value gap territory. But I'm thinking over shot there. Gonna really give this one some room on these price targets because I think get through this fair value gap, start making some moves. So stop loss average down. That's the next question. Clearly, to be sitting here. That all looks good. Okay, downside. Where does that of opportunity? I think here we're gonna speed up here. Sorry, I was getting it staring at these. All right, so I like that break or although 33 could wind up support before we hit these targets. Yeah, you know what? Let's give this a little bit of time instead of the outset of this live stream. Rather miss a little bit percentage of the move, better confirmation than getting into a trade plan prematurely and ultimately stopped out. Patience pays. But do wait. It does open up a good area of risk reward to the downside. The second price target's a little tricky. They are kind of tight, but either of those levels to bounce. Then up a little side. All right, cool. That all looks good. Let's get this locked in. Over one. Come on. Oops. Bro. Oh. Stop. That all looks good. Cool. Tight, tight. This up real quick. My apologies. Then we'll straight. Ooh. All right. Okay. Oh, that looks better. Hopefully this one was worth or will be worth 8. I have confidence that it will be. Because it's the JT Chris combo. Right. I think missed the whole thing. Well, you're getting ready to see more. You didn't miss much, long story short. All right, so here we go. Here is the Dell live stream. Yeah. It took me a minute to figure out the levels. This one, but I think we're good to go. Let's get this posted in the elite chat. Good to go. Let's lock. Let's see. Let's get our alerts going. All right, so what are we looking for here on Dell? We are looking for a break over 130.14. That should give us price targets at 133.7, 136.96, and up to the fill of that fair value gap all the way up to 141.5. Stop loss average down on that is going to be 15 to the downside. We're looking for a break below 123.85. That should give us targets at 130, so kind of tightly stacked there, but that's just what the chart's showing us. And then third price target for the downside, 116.03 with a stop loss average down at 1.594 for that downside trade plan. Those are your Dell live stream plans. Let's go. Ready to roll. All right. Yes, ask questions, please. All right, what's up, Hundo? Good morning, Don P. Good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, so let's see. Serge was in here before we started. Wanted to take a look at Meta. I've had a few people talking about it recently. Should see. Pretty. I was like, good. Our levels on interesting. Playing out for an old trade plan. This does look like it could. And ready to make some moves. Yeah, this is an interesting one. Good request, Serge. Probably, but it sounds fancy. All right. Sorry. It's fixed. Too heavily by that prior term. All right. World peace. Interesting. This could be a think. It already looks like it's to make a push, but let's get a little bit better confirmation. At say thought that was up through this range. Let's see why. 7. And kind of tightly stacked too, but just what the chart looks like. Speculative level. Slight shift. Surprised that this, although this was all in me, that was not so much support and resistance and more indicator driven injection, but TS 3.5 absolutely crushing some of these buy and sell areas per you. All right. I think this, yeah, we have to get some decent room down here for a good stop loss average down. All right. Downside trade. It is important enough to actually go short. Ah, go for this gap fill to the downside. The kind of uh, risk reward on this already kind of looks. I mean, it's probably a little bit better than 1-to-1, but not much. So certainly one where I would start smaller. I just trade the whole smaller position size on this downside trade plan. Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's lock this in for a break of 719.60, 727. Let's average down 60. Downside, break below 776. 6 shared there. 68. All right, rock and roll. Slight adjustment. It's good. All right. So, like I said, this one really, as long as it's holding over 714.68, looks like it's probably ready to make some moves. But you're going to give it a little bit more room. Let's confirm and really focus on those good windows of risk reward, but putting the risk reward in our course. All right, here's the stream. It's in YouTube, Discord, and chat. Message link. Boom. Just realized something. That prior trade plan is that later image chart. It's a week. Give us an entry. Alerts are set, so let's talk through this. Oh, so we easily go back to this. All right, so what are we looking for here on Meta? We're looking for a break over 719.60 that should bring targets at 725.88, 728.85, and 732.49. Stop loss average down at 714.68. For the downside, we're looking for a break below 709.76 that should bring targets at 704.42, 699.33, and 693.81. With a stop loss average down shared with the upside trade plan there at 714.68. Those are your Meta live stream plans. Let's go and let's figure out what was the next ticker we had requested. We do have time to at the very least get through one more trade plan, so let's keep this rig rolling, right? All right, what's up, Don P? What's up, Nate Cole? Yep, what's up, Trading Dad? All right, let's take a HD for Ed. So let's get. Here's a quick tip, something I could have mentioned for folks. And Chris, I know that's something that annoys the crap out of us, and I will one day figure out a good way to get around it. But I have figured out, at least get around it in PineScript. But I have figured out a pretty solid way to, uh, you know, how the chart will kind of go crazy with if your trade plan pilot is, at some totally different levels, and you go to a different ticker and it makes everything super zoomed out and crazy. Well, if you create an indicator template that has your trade plan pilot or navigator on it, but it's hidden, right? If I go to this and let's do this, let's save it. Let's do this. There you go. So you see how the trade plan pilot is all crazy down here. Well, if you have an indicator template, even if it has the trade plan pilot on it, but you just make sure that when you save that template, trade plan pilot's turned off. You just have to go to that template, pretty much back in business. So kind of a little bit of a workaround. Obviously, turn it on, make adjustments, do all that sort of stuff. So something I figured out recently that makes it a little bit easier. That you know it's not really a trading view or an indicator issue. It's just how trading view is designed, and it's understandable the way that they have it set up. So, all right, let's take a look at Home Depot. Coming up, testing. Right, yeah, hide well, have a template, right, that's maybe not attached to trade plans, just kind of like your generic, here's my like base indicator set that I like to have and what visible and not. So this is essentially just VWAP and NPS. But I do have these other ones in here that are just turned off, including the trade plan pilot. So then if I wanted to, I'd set up my trade plan, do all that stuff, and then I would lock in the template with the trade plan pilot visible and remembering the symbol to one another. So just some tips and tricks that I figured out recently, or thought of recently. First place. All right. It's all. Whoa. All right. Let's tighten this up. Okay. Get a little bit of perspective here. Depot is come actually it's through whichever level I charted, and I will admit charted thoroughly. Definitely testing against a very interesting level here. Pre-market. have a bit of a gap to this level sit. A little bit of an early rejection. See if there was some other reason. Pretty, well, quite as close as I thought. Definitely a couple of levels by the looks of it. First target could be up to that 370 level, but it's 369 first. And we're going to go with a slightly more aggressive approach to this trade plan, but it really does good. Actually, it's for another sec. Yeah, you know what? I am going to finish this up. Switch it up even more, actually. Sorry. Okay. This is throwing this canvas. What's that? All right. Cool. Stop loss, entry, 1. Let's take T2. Separate. Spot where we think that makes for a good PP3. All right. So set. That is right. Actually, you know what? Sorry, I keep flip flopping on this, and I'm really, honestly, not trying to. But I actually do see setup here. So this promise side Yeah, over could make a bigger move. Teeth. It's not better, actually. Okay, feeling good about this. So, stop loss average down. So we're going to give this one a little bit of self levels that are both really close to each other. All right, so then it's downside. Interesting. So we can share stop loss average down with side trade plan. Target. Stacked up each other for some reason. All right, so this is our this is our second price target. Third target, last but not least. In fact, last but most, if we're talking profit, that's what we see as max profit on the trade. All right, cool. Sorry that took a moment, but we're getting through 3 plans this morning, so say 3 7 stop loss average 60 60 57 6 77 stop loss average down. Let's see how this wait fit. Clean this up. These are old. Okay. So here is our sorry, I'm just seeing this name. Choosing options expiration dates, choosing a pre-earnings date or post. Yeah, no, I would still give yourself more time. Um, give yourself the same amount of time, even if you know that you're comfortable with, or that you would usually use, even if you know you're going to be closing that earnings date. And it's never going to hurt you to have time left on those contracts. So I would definitely recommend buying the time. Let's go. Stream 3 this morning. Okay, so what are we looking for here on Home Depot? We're looking for a break over 366.45. That should bring targets at 373. 373.25 and 377.8. Stop loss average down at 63.60. Downside, we're looking for a break below 360.57. That should bring targets at 357.06, 353.73, and 349.07 with shared stop loss average down 63.60. Those are your Home Depot trade plans, and this is your Tuesday Chart Talk Live, courtesy of Xtrades. Hope everybody gets a lot out of these sessions. I hope that we make some money on these trade plans. I'm fairly confident we will, if history is any indicator of that. So, with that being said, I want to thank you all for joining me. We will be back Thursday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, until then, as we always say here on Chart Talk Live, plan your trades, trade your plans. Go out there and get some green. Remember, we are looking for profits, not perfection. So, keep those wins big, keep those losses small. I will see you all in the chats, and I will see you back here next Thursday morning at 8:30 a.m. Until then, take care. Have a great day.